the interesting thing is how willing everyone is to believe that the consumer can keep going. So if you take a look at all of the things that had people saying in 2023, we expect recession, they were actually things on which we were kind of early, like an inverted yield curve, which
Right.
we still have, right? An inverted yield curve normally takes 18 to 24 months before it really comes to roost. So couple that with the high interest rates that we've had. What happens when interest rates go high? You get more defaults, but we haven't seen more defaults,
They're
right?
creeping. They're starting to creep. The
Starting.
delinquencies are starting to creep in.
Exactly right. We're starting to see numbers that show that,
Yeah.
okay, consumers are under stress.
Yeah.
We're seeing numbers that say there's record credit card debt, and credit card debt is at record high levels of interest rates.
Correct.
But it hasn't stopped consumers yet. Everyone's talking about, well, with these high rates, nobody can get a mortgage. Well, not that many people need them. I know they do, and that's overstating it. But the fact is, we're now at a spot in this country where when couples are separating, they're not fighting about who gets to keep the house. They're fighting about who gets to keep the mortgage. Because
Right.
the mortgage is a 3% mortgage from X number of years ago. And like, I may not want the house, but I want the document because that's cheap money that I can't get someplace else.
Is
And
that falls under, I used to love you, but I love the low rates more?
I'm not sure, but I know that I know that anybody who has, like, as someone who could be looking, because I just got married, my wife and I are talking about where we want to be living and what we want to do going
Sure.
forward. I will not say that my mortgage is like a golden handcuff to the house, but the math works very differently now with me having a low rate mortgage and looking at something that would be much higher, et cetera. So it makes me say, okay, what situation do we want? And we're not quite ready to move to a lower cost area of the country where we go, oh, who needs a mortgage or whatever? But we're close. And so it changes the conversations and it changes the numbers. But again, the things that we haven't seen happen yet, there has been no wave of defaults, not at any level. We haven't seen junk bonds have a wave of defaults. We haven't seen creditors have a wave of defaults. We only have to go back 6, 7 years. We had municipalities that were on the wave of default.
Oh, I know. Yeah.
Puerto Rico bonds and Chicago bonds and Detroit bonds and whatever else were all in trouble. All that problem has, quote unquote, gone away. And remember, we're less than a year removed from Silicon Valley Bank and problems there. Now, the one that would worry me, if you want the scary one is how many banks have a significant amount of paper out on commercial real estate.
Yes.
And if you can't solve the commercial real estate problem, could you have a wave of bank failures? You could.
You could.
Hey, Stan the Annuity Man here. Did you like that little taste of my podcast, Fun with Annuities? Hey, if you want to see the full version, click the link and watch the whole darn thing. Remember, Fun with Annuities. Live in the reality, not the dream.